when Arab people tell you to stop talking about Tom King because the way in which a lot of you guys talk about him is just giving him more validity and credit or promotion, like, you tweeting out how bad his comics are isn't helping the fact that, or isn't going against the fact that he is a war criminal. You're just flooding the conversation. Listen to Arab people. Just listen to them. For fuck's sake. Have this fucking talk about Grant Morrison every other week. Anyway, welcome back to another episode of Last Week in Comics, where I talk about the last week in comics. There's a lot of shit this week. Not shit. They're all good books. Anyway, let's start with Mark Waid pissing off everyone with the new history of the DC Universe. First off, I don't know why they made this book. This feels like something that they should have just made as, like, it feels like they're trying to publish, like, a loose retelling that's meant for the writers and editors at DC, just to keep them, like, timeline-wise, or keep them straight on who's Wonder Woman during the JSA era. Like, it doesn't feel like it should have been published, is what I'm saying. And it's very funny because, like, I personally am a really huge fan of the indexes that they used to publish back in the 80s, which were essentially just, like, mini character Bibles for everyone in... I'm specifically talking about the Marvel indexes. Don't support Marvel. They are still on the BDS boycott list. However, if you buy the indexes, they're secondhand, so no money's going to them. Like, the old Marvel indexes were essentially, like, just short character Bibles for almost everyone in Marvel Comics. And so I don't know why the new history of the DC Universe is trying to, like the entire thing is told from, like, oh, it's Barry Allen retelling the history. First off, Mark Waid did get a lot of stuff wrong, specifically regarding the Hawks and just everything having to do with them. A lot of my Hawk mutuals kind of assumed that he got it from a fan blog who didn't know what they were talking about, instead of, like, anyone actually at DC. So the fact that this, like, entire thing does not seem to have, or little if any, editorial oversight is kind of a problem. But also, it's not necessarily a fun thing to read, you know? Like, the art is amazing. It's the same person who did Stargirl, The Lost Children, Todd Nack. The art in it is wonderful. I think that he does a, like, exceptional job at making splash pages. Case in point, that the last issue of Jeff Johns' JSA, which was just all splash pages. So, like, the art in it's good, but, like, it just doesn't feel like it should have been published. I might change my opinion the more of it that comes out, but, like, it feels like it's trying to cover too much ground in too little time. Because, so this first issue covers from, like, basically the start of the universe to about Krypton exploding. So it's kind of vague about what years those are. The only really time period stuff that gets mentioned is Dan Hunter. Apparently Time Master's 1990s canon to fucking Mark Waid. I don't know why he read that book, but okay. Because apparently he doesn't even have enough time to, like, just read the multiple threads explaining the Thanagarians and the Hawk people, but he has time to read Time Master's 1990 and bring back Dan Hunter, the worst of the Hunters. But, like, okay, so, a couple, like, key points of this retelling. Number one, apparently now Milestone is officially canon to the DC universe. If you didn't know before, it was kind of kept in this vague stasis of it's probably not canon, but sometimes we want to make it canon for certain things. But for the most part, it has been not canon since its creation by Dwayne McDuffie. But now they're bringing Milestone into the mainline universe. I mean, alright, they're not gonna do anything with Milestone, so what's the point with it? Of this, like, are you guys going to greenlit more Milestone books, or are you gonna just keep it in we're gonna publish, like, one book, and then we're gonna wait, like, 2 years, and then not publish anything else? Like, unless you're constantly keeping up with this brand, I don't see a reason to bring it into the mainline DC universe. Quite honestly, I kind of Quite honestly, I kind of wish that Milestone would be picked up by someone and taken away from DC because they are not treating them right. Like, let it be an indie publisher that focuses on Blackleg comics. Like when Milestone was created, those didn't exist. Now that exists. You can do that now. So 1, Milestone is now canon to the DC universe. 2, apparently Mark Waid was told to make every single one of Jeff Johns' retcons work. I thought we were all in agreement that, like, the only good thing that Jeff Johns did was Stargirl. Like, I thought, like, that was, like, the general consensus of, like, the Jeff Johns era of DC. Like, it was, like, maybe only, like, 3 good things. 1, Stargirl. 2, Simon Baz and Jessica Cruz. 3, I don't think I have a third one, actually. I don't think that we should keep all of these Jeff Johns things around. Oh, and then, like, the third big thing was Queen Hippolyta is now the Wonder Woman in the JSA. Which, for some reason, people keep on trying to argue with me that makes sense. Personally, I'm of the opinion of we can just retcon Wonder Woman out of the JSA. Like, she doesn't need to be there. Back when the JSA first started, it was a very good point to have Wonder Woman in there to kind of give the book validity. But now, we're like decades later. Pretty much every single member of the JSA has been able to carry their own solo books to relative success. Sometimes not. Alan Scott's been doing great. Black Canary's been doing great. These are now recognizable characters. We can move past the need for Wonder Woman to be on the book. Also because, like, personally for me, I think it does, like, people were like, it doesn't confuse the Amazon's origin to do this. It makes it more streamlined. And I'm like, it doesn't, though. It really doesn't. Because, what do you mean Queen Hippolyta was there during World War II? It doesn't make any sense knowing the actual, like, history of the Amazons and how they did not want to interfere in men's wars for, like, the longest time, and Queen Hippolyta is actively discouraging Wonder Woman from doing so. Like, you think if she knew that there was, like, this entire, like, justice society of, like, you know, people from man's world who are trying to do good, you think that she would have been more open to sending her daughter initially? It muddles the water too much that it's better to just take Wonder Woman out of the JSA than it is to try and have her make sense in it. If I'm being completely honest, this book feels like something that Mark Waid typed out with no real direction for the artist to go in. And, like, yeah, it's gonna be mostly splash pages, but, like, it does make the text itself feel a little bit chunky. So they're doing the Well of Souls thing with the Amazons, where it's, like, all the women who are unjustly slain by men, they're being reborn on Themyscira as an Amazon, which I think is alright. However, I kind of have the opinion of it shouldn't be all Amazons who are born this way. Just that's how they get new Amazons onto the island, which also means that, you know, although there is a continuous stream of new Amazons coming in, and you leave the door open for more Amazons to come in, Wonder Woman's still very special because, like, she's the only one who grew up on Themyscira instead of being reincarnated as, like, a full person. Also, I don't know how this is gonna make sense when, like, in the next issue, we're gonna do Diana's origin. And, like, you know, Diana is specifically a gift from the female gods, you know, Athena. I don't know anything about Greek mythology. But, you know, she is specifically a gift from the female gods because the male gods had wronged the Amazons. So how are we gonna do that if we're doing the Well of Souls thing? I don't know. Some of these things, I feel like when they put them in the book, they did not, like, they wrote it instead of, like, all 4 issues being pitched at once, which is very common with books. It seems like they kind of pitched, like, maybe one, and then we're like, alright, now we gotta go write the other, and I just, It also gives a origin to Nubia before Wonder Woman's even, like, in this. Oh god, there's so much wrong happening with this book. I completely forgot. They brought back one of the characters whose name was a slur against Native people. So, there's, like, this page of all of the, like, cowboys of DC, including Nighthawk and Cinnamon, which are the reincarnated versions of, Shaira and Carter. I like them, so I'm okay with that. But right next to them is, Kiwanote, which, again, they had to change his name because it was it was a slur. It was an anti-indigenous slur. This book has so much going on. It's not worth it. The only good thing that it does is when, so like, you know, obviously I have my favorite obscure characters. Stack has his favorite obscure characters. It seems like the only thing that this book is good for is if you like those obscure characters and you just want them to appear in places and not really, you don't really care if they do anything, just if they're there. I say this because both Dan Garrett and Sparky make appearances, except people jumped me for this, but I'm right about this because I'm the only one who has read most of Dan Garrett's comics. Like, y'all pretend to be Dan Garrett fans. You have not been in the trenches of Cuba Cola, okay? I don't like that he's a part of Justice Society Dark. I didn't know that Justice Society Dark was a thing until I read this book, and I instantly hate it. And it's like, okay, I don't like it when Dan Garrett uses magic. I think it's a very, like, lazy way of doing things. Especially because when we later, like, the reason that they kept the magic origin where he has all of those weird powers is because later we're gonna get Jaime. We're gonna get Jaime, but Jaime has all of these tech-based powers. So why are we still pretending like Dan Garrett's magic if the fucking scarab's an alien? This is retelling Dan Garrett's origin story with the knowledge that we are making Jaime part alien. We are making the scarab alien technology that has vaguely mystical properties, okay? We know that this is the end goal. We know that Jaime is the end goal. So why is Dan Garrett magic now? Why is Dan Garrett magic again? I'm getting tired of it. Just pick one, DC. Pick one. And by pick one, I mean let Dan Jurgen blow up those goddamn gorillas with a stick of dynamite again. The second, like, you moved away from Dan Garrett just throwing dynamite at his problems is the second that Dan Garrett's book started getting bad. Oh, and Sparky makes an appearance again. But, like, again, because this book is so fast, they have no time to explain who Sparky is, or the fact that he's some rich orphan kid. That was my main complaint of Stargirl The Lost Children, because then, so, like, I then went back and read Sparky's appearances, and I was like, this is not the same person. Stack is just happy because Time Master's 1990s canon now, because fucking the worst Hunter, Dan Hunter over here, is in the book. But yeah, I know he's the one that stays in the past. I don't know why they had to mention Dan Hunter.
Because the Time Masters are going to be important later in the
Yeah, but here's the thing. Yes, the Time Masters are going to be important, but they're going to use the Jeff Johns version. I'm calling it now. I'm calling it right now. Right now in this video. Stack is going to be wrong. They are not going to... Dan Hunter is the only mention of Time Masters 1990 that's going to happen, and then the rest of it is going to be, aligned with Jeff Johns' ideas of the Time Masters from Stargirl The Lost Children, where they're all assholes.
As long as there's not that fuck-ass raccoon and Jeff...
They're gonna put the fuck-ass raccoon in there!
As long as Jeff is still the co-inventor of time travel, I'll be happy.
This book is keeping all of Jeff Johns' retcons.
No, it's not!
Yes, it is. Because people were pointing it out.
That
No, people were pointing it out! That wasn't me. I'm sorry. I just need to prepare you for the fuck-ass raccoon showing up.
Let me live in delusion.
I'm sorry, the fuck-ass raccoon's gonna be there and Corky isn't gonna hang himself. I've been talking about this book for too long. I don't know why they're dragging it out for 4 issues. I would have just preferred it to be one big book that they just sold. And it was like, here, goddamn, for all of you people who want DC's universe to make sense. I don't want it to make sense, actually. I think it's more fun when it doesn't, because it kind of harkens back to, like, mythology, you know? Like, DC has all of these long-lasting characters who have been through multiple decades, like, the faces of the superhero industry. I feel like they should be allowed to exist in whatever time we want them to. That's my opinion on the new history of the DC universe. Stop trying to make DC's timeline make sense. It just exists as it is, and we should all accept that. Next on the books I actually read list. Absolute Wonder Woman number 9. So, we're kind of getting the, like, you know how Dr. Poison told you that there's an Amazon? Whoops. It's actually, I had to fucking look up her name because I don't know enough about Wonder Woman and I don't pretend to know. Instead of it being an actual Amazon, it's actually Queen Clea. one of Wonder Woman's very frequent villains. But the real standout of this issue is specifically how Wonder Woman talks to both Dr. Poison and Ferdinand. So we get Ferdinand, one of the Minotaur, which is a close ally of Wonder Woman. And the way that she, like, pauses their fight to talk to him and, like, actually ask, like, hey, what's happening? What's going on here? Let me figure this out before I just go in guns blazing. And Ferdinand's like, oh, I'm trying to protect this girl. They keep on attacking me because they're being sent by the Clea. And Wonder Woman's like, okay, you're clearly in the right. I'm gonna help you then. And I think it just perfectly encapsulates who Wonder Woman is as a person in a way that not many Wonder Woman media actually understands. Like, she's the type to kind of step back from a situation, fully assess, and make sure that she is doing good by the people who need help. And I love that about her. And, I love Absolute Wonder Woman. Kelly Thompson's doing an amazing job. I also especially like Sherman's art on it. This video is probably going to be praising a lot of artists. I'm just going to put that out there because most of my thoughts about Martian Manhunter is also about artists. Sherman does such, like, an amazing job, like, layering the panels and really, like, showing, like, the mythology of Wonder Woman during this. Specifically, like, I've noticed that everything kind of looks like Greek pottery where, you know, you have, like, kind of a story being told around, you know, this pottery piece. It's kind of the same build up with how they do the paneling for Absolute Wonder Woman, and I think it's absolutely amazing. I don't know, I've always said that Sherman's art style really is able to encapsulate Wonder Woman in a way that not many artists can understandably do, and I love it. I love that this book exists, and I hope that if Absolute Wonder Woman eventually ends, although the Absolute Universe is doing well, it seems to be, we don't know how long it's going to last for, but if it ever ends, I need Kelly Thompson and Sherman to instantly be moved to the mainline Wonder Woman book. Like, just take them, put them there. Take them, put them there immediately. I don't care if that means we have to lose Kelly Thompson on Birds of Prey. I will make that sacrifice just to get this kind of writing into mainline Wonder Woman, because I do feel like this book has done so much to help raise Wonder Woman's, like, identity, and it's mostly through a lot of fans, like, reading the book and being like, no, this is how Wonder Woman should be written always. And I appreciate that, and especially going into this new era of DC adaptations, where we have a writer who clearly does not care about women. It's very great to see that we have, like, this piece where we can hold it up and be like, this is how Wonder Woman should be, without it being attached to terrible people. Cough, cough, Phil Jimenez. But yeah, I'm still being taken along for the ride with this book. You know how it be. Next up on my list, Absolute Martian Manhunter issue 4. First off, how did Den's camp predict that heat wave that has been, like, sweeping across North America? How did you know that it would happen, like, this week? That was fucking spooky, man. And next time, can you not predict a heat wave? So, the real standout from this issue isn't Den's camp's writing. I know everyone praises Den's camp's writing, but, like, literally, this book would be nothing without Javier Rodriguez's art. We're getting, like, John Jones, like, prioritizing, you know, curing people of the White Martian, kind of getting in their ear. He's too busy doing that he's ignoring his wife and his kid. I say this about I say this about most books. I should have said this about Absolute Wonder Woman during that part. I will say about Absolute Martian Manhunter, you just need to read this book because, like, every single page that Javier makes is, like, dripping with, like, emotion and, like, just the way that everything's paneled. So you see, like, the slow, like, seeding anger, or you see the White Martian being able to slowly take over John Jones's wife. And maybe it's not even the White Martian taking over her. Maybe it's just her own natural anger. And, like, that kind of, like, vagueness in this, and how, like, the Martian mindfucker can, like, obviously read all the emotions that are happening on her face and what she's thinking, but doesn't take the time to really, like, explore into that until she threatens to leave them, and then it's, like, this big, like, boom of emotions, because apparently emotions are colorful in this universe, but until it's like this big boom of emotions where he finally is like, no, please don't leave me. I'm sorry for pulling you through all this. And it's just, oh God, it's so good. Honestly, I know a lot of people have been praising Denskamp for his writing, but like, what makes this book for me is Javier Rodriguez's art. If this book did not have Javier Rodriguez on it, I genuinely don't think it would have been good. I think it would have been okay. It wouldn't be debatably the best Absolute book. I still think that Absolute Wonder Woman's the best Absolute book, but I know other people have their opinions because they don't like women, but, you know, again, this book would be nothing without him. And DC, pay your fucking artists more. Pay your fucking artists. The artists are doing, like, in some cases, 75% of the work, depending on the writer, depending if the writer decides not to kind of sketch out some more complicated ideas for the artist. Again, the artist is 75% of the book. You should be paying them as such. Honestly, overall though, you should be paying your comic book creatives more. But yeah, read Absolute Martian Manhunter for yourself. It's, Jesus, it's been good. It is good. There's a reason that this was extended to 12 issues after that first issue. That's all I'm saying. Okay, now I'm just gonna go down the list now, just because, like, most of these I just kind of skimmed because I don't really have that much to say about a lot of them. First off, the terrible Jeremy Adams Green Lantern, issue 24 came out. Again, this book feels like they're trying to bait people who only watch adaptations into reading comics, because why is fucking Ava? I forget her name. I watched Green Lantern, the animated series, back in 2011, but, like, they brought her into the comics for some reason, after also bringing back that one blue-haired, or that one blue guy who has the split, like, blue and red lantern. They brought him into the comics, too, apparently, back in issue 4. I wasn't doing the show back then, so I didn't fucking know. It does seem like Jeremy Adams is just trying to bait, like, non-comic book readers into reading this book, because the sales they're not what they should be. I still don't even know why Dan Garrett's there. None of this book makes sense. None of it does. This might go down as one of the worst Green Lantern runs of all time. Just saying a lot, because there was a lot of bad Green Lantern runs. If you're looking for good Green Lantern books, I highly recommend you check out Green Lantern Dark by Tate Brombold. It kind of features this, like, it's Tate's original Lantern. She looks fucking sick as hell. I've been buying the book since issue 1. It unfortunately did get canceled, so please pressure DC. Like, read it for yourself, form your own opinions, and then when you eventually realize how good this fucking is, pressure DC into expanding it past issue 7. Or just making a new series of it. I've heard nothing but good things about this book. I have not kept up with it just because I have to keep up with so many different books for this series. But anyway, go read Green Lantern Dark instead of Jeremy Adams' Green Lantern. Okay, so Justice League Unlimited number 8 is next on my list. We're continuing the We Are Yesterday storyline, and apparently now everyone's fucking in the main universe. Not everyone's fucking in the main universe, but, like, every single fucking character from DC is in the main universe now. That includes, like, Jason Todd as Robin, Dick Grayson as Robin. There were so many people in this fucking... This issue allegedly has 800 different characters, which is insane. And DC, pay Dan Mora more. Pay Dan Mora more for, like, everything that he's been doing for you. You guys would be nothing without Dan Mora right now. So they brought back the black and red suit Harley Quinn. Fucking Donna Troy's here. There's 3 fucking different Robins, I guess. There's so many characters. Jaime's there. Jaime's there, and that's the important part. Fucking Batman Beyond's over here. I know Terry's there because Justice League Dark, but, like, I'm sorry. I have quickly lost interest in Justice League Unlimited by Mark Waid. I like the premise at the start where it was like, hey, we're gonna have a bunch of people on the everyone's a member of the Justice League, because that does open you up to having more stories overall. Like, you could dedicate a issue to a team, or, you could dedicate 3 issues to one story and, like, keep moving and grooving. But now because of the We Are Yesterday event, it's kind of been, like, halted and, like a foot shoved into it. And for some reason, Airwaves here, which, by the way, apparently Mark Waid also messed up Airwaves' entire thing, because apparently, so there's Airwave 1, which is a Jordan, but was related to Hal, and then Airwave 2, who is also a Jordan, but not related to Hal Jordan. And now, because they made both of them canon, they're both related to Hal Jordan now. It's confusing. I don't like how many people are related to Hal Jordan who are getting books. But yeah, Justice League Unlimited has lost my interest. I'm still buying it, because I do think that we need a Justice League book. How I can really tell that I like a book is that if I go out of my way to go buy the variants of the series, versus, like, kind of, like, passively being like, yeah, this is a good book, I do want it to continue, but if it gets canceled, I won't care. That's what, like, my normal stasis is, where I have a comic book, like, on my ongoing pull list, but, like, if it gets canceled, it gets canceled, and I'm not that upset about it. And, like, Justice League Unlimited has reached that point. That means all my variant buying is going to Justice League Red. I have probably bought every single one so far that I could pre-order. Go read Justice League Red instead. Oh, who was it? It was Saladin Ahmed and Clayton Henry both on it. Clayton's been, like, posting, like, the, like, behind-the-scenes footage of him, like, drawing it, and it's amazing. I love this. Go read Justice League Red when it comes out. Okay, next on the list, Superman 27. I have to mention a lot about this book, because it has now canonized that Booster Gold is the most special guy in the universe. An actual quote by Stack the Deck. And DC Comics, they literally said that, like, he is, like, the key to time and space, or some bullshit like that. I don't fucking know. I'm gonna keep up with Superman for issue 28, 29, and 30, when, like, Booster Gold's, like, really in it, and then I'm gonna stop caring about the main Superman book. I don't need to care about the main Superman book unless one of my faves show up, because Superman's never gonna be in trouble of getting canceled. That's just the truth. Okay, so DC X Sonic the Hedgehog issue 4 also came out. It seemed to be, the only thing I heard about it was, Batman and Metal Sonic were, beefing, and fighting each other, so if you like Metal Sonic, very good issue to check out. I have more Sonic talk later, don't worry. Stay tuned. Green Arrow issue 25 also came out. It seems to be a very... Fuck, did Roy Harper die? Yeah, Roy Harper's fucking, like, dead, or has, like, a weird sedative that makes it seem like he's addicted to drugs. I feel like there's better storylines you can do with Roy Harper, especially with Leon being back, and also Cheshire getting a miniseries, like, explaining a lot of things about his origin. Okay, next up is Harley Quinn number 52. So, according to Daystar, Harley Quinn is now being able to kiss more women than just Poison Ivy, which makes sense, with the two, with Poison Ivy's ongoing happening and Harley Quinn's ongoing happening. I guess the two groups don't want to be in constant communication with each other, so they've just decided to leave Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy's relationship open. I think it's fine that they do that. I think it creates more interesting stories. Specifically, insert panel here about Harley Quinn, about Poison Ivy thinking about Harley Quinn while she's having sex. Like, it's able to do a lot more with the characters than if they were constantly tied at the hip. And fuck it. Okay, I'm glad that Harley Quinn's now getting in on some of the action. Good on you, girl. Fuck, I did not keep up with Mr. Terrific Year 1, Issue 2. The Spectre's here, though.
Peter. The horse is here.
I also really didn't hear anything about it, but to be fair, I do think that this series, like, exists in, like, a space where, like, hey, this is going to be the definitive origin going forward for Mr. Terrific. This is a very good thing to look back on later. I'm still buying it, just because I want it to succeed. I want more Mr. Terrific in things. Like, why isn't he in JSA right now? He's in Justice League quite a bit, though. But not really. Not like in a way that actually matters. Not in a way where you couldn't replace him with Ted Kord, and I think that's pretty important. Like, if you're gonna have Mr. Terrific in something, he shouldn't be able to be replaced by Ted Kord. Next up, we have Peacemaker Presents the Vigilante Eagly double feature. I have not figured out where I have settled on, like, when you haven't, like, I said I wasn't gonna talk about adaptations. I don't know what about, like, adaptations of adaptations, because that's what this book is, and it's confusing, and, like, yeah, I've been buying it in secret, but, like, it's just because I did like Peacemaker. I don't know if I'm gonna like season 2 as much. I think James Gunn is about to George Lucas himself. Not with Superman, but with Peacemaker. So that's gonna be fun to see. Oh, I should have talked about this earlier when I was talking about Superman. But there is a very interesting book that came out this week called Superman the World, which has a bunch of writers and artists from different countries writing their version of Superman. So I didn't read all of them. I know Javier Rodriguez is on the one for Spain. Dan Jurgens was the writer for the United States one. So just a quick overview of all the countries being covered. So we have the United States, Spain, Italy, Serbia, Cameroon, India, Argentina, Turkey, France, Brazil, Poland, Mexico, Germany, the Czech Republic, and Japan. All being written by different writers and artists from those countries. And I think that is such an interesting thing to do. That's one of the things I have liked about Superman's marketing campaign is how much they make him, like, a symbol for the entire world. Because I know that, like, in the past it used to be truth, justice, and the American way. We have moved past that as a society, and I love the phrase, truth, justice, and a better tomorrow. And I think the whole marketing him around, like, being the superhero of the Earth is so good, and I love that this book I love that this book happened. I especially like the Superman India story, just because, like, the way that, like, the blue really, like, that's the only one I read, because I am Indian, but, like, the way that, like, the blue is, like, the only color on the page, which isn't really a color typically, like, seen in Indian clothing, so it is really interesting. And then, like, Lois Lane is in Asari, like, they made, like, their own version of these characters, and this book is good. I think that if you read anything I mentioned this week, you should read Superman, the World. And then also last, and probably least, because it's The Flash, The Flash issue 22, is Wally season. Like, apparently, like, in current Flash, Barry Allen's been taken out entirely, and he's just kind of the guy in the chair, and now it's Wally's turn. I think that should just be how it is going forward. We as a society have grown past the need for Barry Allen and Hal Jordan being the main, like, versions of those characters. So, moving on to the indie books. From Image Comics, I am going to shout out this book again because I do think it has a really interesting presence. We're Taking Everyone Down With Us, issue 4 just came out. Essentially, this book is about a young girl and her robot companion, and that they are going to go on a murder spree. I have not kept up with the book, unfortunately, just because I have been busy and all over the place constantly, but I've been hearing really good things about it, so you should go check it out. Also, if you are a fan of Den's Camp's Absolute Martian Manhunter, and the other book that he's doing, which I don't think is as good, you should really check out Assorted Crisis Offense. We're on issue 4 now. I've heard great things about it. It's another one of those, like, post-apocalyptic, like, let me reanalyze society kind of things that Den's Camp does. And it's a good reminder that anytime you like a writer from the big two, they probably have an indie book where they are allowed a lot more creative freedom and a lot more of their writing style gets to show through. So you should always go check it out. Also because I'm pretty sure they get paid more for those. Hopefully they get paid more. Then there's also a part of the Massive Universe, Rogue Sun. Issue 28 is happening. So if you like Power Rangers, if you like that kind of like Tonkatsu kind of style, you should go check it out. Also if you like, Radiant Black. And then my favorite indie publishing company, IDW. I will be, beat up by someone if I don't say, you should go read the Sonic the Hedgehog series that's out right now. Issue 79 of the current run came out. And it's a silver story, so Stack is very excited about it. It's a Tangle and Whisper story, which, if you don't know, those are the two lesbians. The two lesbians that have just been described as me and Stack before. I don't know which one's which. You should read the book and figure out for yourself and leave it in the comments section. If you even made it this long through the video, I don't know how long people watch these for. So if you made it to this point, go read Sonic the Hedgehog issue 79. Figure out which one of me and Stack is Tangle and Whisper, and then leave it in the comments section because I can't remember right now. But again, the Sonic comics are really good. You should go read them. This is probably the first time I have announced something for the indie books, but I want to mention it because, again, Dan Mora needs to be paid more, so you should buy more of the stuff he's in. That kind of spoils it, but Dan Mora is joining the Transformers team, so he is going to be the artist for the mainline Transformers book with Robert Kirkman and George Corona. So, again, another important point. I know a lot of people like Kirkman. If you like Kirkman's still making books besides Invincible. You should go support those as well. Also, case in point, Dan Mora's art looks fucking amazing in the Transformer style. If I'm being completely honest, Dan Mora's Power Rangers and Transformer stuff seems to be leagues better than what he's doing at DC. So you should definitely go check it out. But anyway, it's very hard for, like, a artist to correctly scale the Transformers to humans, and Dan Mora is already doing a fantastic job. He did a fantastic job in Power Rangers with the Zoids. Honestly, go read Dan Mora's, Power Ranger stuff. It's extremely good. It also has Kyle Higgins of Massiveverse fame got his start in the Power Rangers books with Dan Mora. So you should really check them out. They're good. I also got another announcement by Stack, who saw it on, I don't even know how Stack saw it. But Ignition Press is publishing a book by one of my favorite writers, mostly because they remember Wyatt Wingfoot's existence, Stephanie Williams. It's called Roots of Madness. It looks fucking sick as hell. Tell your comic book shops, sometimes, these indie books sometimes get, left behind by comic book shops and they don't know to order them. Tell your local comic book shop about it so that they can order it, because this book looks amazing. This is gonna be, a really good horror comic, and I'm into it. And I'm gonna message my local comic book shop and tell them, hey, did you hear about this book? You should go pick it up. If they haven't already. If I don't see it on my pre-order list, I will make it be on my pre-ordered list. Anyway, that's kind of it for Last Week in Comics. So up here is going to be your next recommended video. Is another episode of Last Week in Comics. Is an episode of Ash and Their Fantastic Friends, my live show I do every 9 p.m. EST on Saturday. I don't know. Maybe it's a YouTube short. Maybe it's a video I haven't even made yet because I'm behind in making other videos besides this series. I still haven't even bagged on my comics. I'm going insane. And then down here is the rest of the playlist of Last Week in Comics. If you want to know what's been happening in the world of comics since November 2024, it's all down here. And then over here is the subscribe button. I'm going to be doing more videos about how to collect comics because I feel like a lot of comic book YouTubers talk about comics, but they don't talk about how to start collecting them because, most of them don't have, physical collections. They have, digital collections or, omnibuses, and, that's quitters talk. Not really. It doesn't matter how you read your comics as long as you're reading comics. But, again, I have, 22 short boxes. I know my shit about collecting comics, so I'm gonna make videos about that. White Wingfoot video essay is T-minus a year away. Other stuff. I don't know. If you have a suggestion for videos I should make, just put it in the comments section. I'll probably make it. I'll do it. I'll do anything. Give me $5 and I'll definitely do something. My Ko-fi is linked below. And cut.